Dragon Slayers Academy, Book 1, Chapter 8. The sun dawned on Wiglaf and Eric outside the mouth of Gorzel's cave. With trembling fingers, Wiglaf finished tying his lucky rag to Shorkill's hilt. If ever he needed luck, it was now. Wiglaf adjusted Gawain's baggy tunic and trousers. Then he glanced over at Eric, who was wearing Zelda's sky-blue dress. His brown hair peeked out from under her white lace cap. "I was wrong to think you would not pass for a daughter of the village, Eric," Wiglaf said. Eric only nodded. "That lace cap suits you," Wiglaf went on. "If I were a dragon, I should believe you were a girl, and a fetching one at that." "Enough!" Eric snapped. "Keep your thoughts on Gorzel." Just then, a cloud of smoke billowed out of the cave, and a voice inside boomed, "I smell breakfast!" Wiglaf and Eric hid their swords behind their backs as a huge, green, snake-like head poked out from the smoke. The dragon's eyes blazed orange. Steam rose from his jaws. Yellow slime dripped from his nose. Wiglaf had never seen anything so hideous. So this was Gorzel. Wiglaf thought back to the minstrel's tale. He gripped his sword more tightly. He hoped that Gorzel would not soon be using Shorkill for his toothpick. Gorzel puffed 2 smoke rings from his nose. "What luck!" he exclaimed. "Here are a tasty little son and daughter of the village, and here is Gorzel, hungry for breakfast. Daughter, have you any last words to say to Gorzel?" Eric took a step forward. He whispered something, but even Wiglaf could not hear what it was. What? Gorzel said. "Speak up, girl." But Eric only whispered again. The dragon stepped out from the cave. Slime trickled from his nose. It spattered on the ground in greasy yellow puddles. He lowered his head close to Eric. "Now Gorzel can hear better. What did you say, my delicious cookie?" "I am not your cookie, Gorzel!" Eric shouted into the dragon's ear. "I am your worst nightmare!" And he whipped his sword from behind his back. An angry red crest rose from Gorzel's head. Sparks shot from his nose. They scorched the hem of Eric's dress. Then Gorzel raised the tip of his tail over his head and whacked Eric's sword out of his hand. Wiglaf and Eric watched it sail off into the woods. "Uh-oh," said Eric. He ducked behind a nearby boulder. "Quick, Wiglaf," he called. "Draw your sword!" Wiglaf stared up at the monster before him. He tried to remember what he had learned in his one and only slaying class, but Gorzel was no dummy dragon with a target painted under his chin. He was the real thing. With a quivering hand, Wiglaf brought Shorkill out from behind his back. The dragon gazed at the rusty thing and chuckled. "Shorkill," Wiglaf said. "Slay the dragon!" Shorkill did not move. "Shorkill," Wiglaf tried again. "Do the dragon in!" Shorkill made no thrust. Yellow flames began to flicker from Gorzel's nostrils. "Shorkill!" Wiglaf yelled. "Help!" In the blink of an eye, the sword leaped out of Wiglaf's hand. It glowed red hot as it soared up into the air. Gorzel stopped flaming. Wiglaf and Eric and the dragon all stared as Shorkill rose higher and higher and higher into the clouds. They waited for it to reappear, but the sword had vanished. At last, Gorzel fixed his gaze back on Wiglaf. "Too bad," he chortled. "Now it's breakfast time." Gorzel opened his terrible jaws. Any second, Wiglaf knew, lightning bolts would strike him. "If only I had more time," he thought. Time enough to discover Gorzel's secret weakness. But how? Wiglaf racked his brain, but he could think of nothing. Nothing. At last, Wiglaf opened his mouth, and over Gorzil's thundering roar, he yelled the first thing that came to his mind. Knock, knock! Instantly, the thunder stopped. A joke? The dragon cried. There's nothing Gorzil likes better than a good joke. Breakfast can wait. All right, who's there? Lettuce, Wiglaf managed. Lettuce? Gorzil snorted a puff of smoke. Lettuce, Gorzil can guess. Easy. Oh, phoo. Lettuce who? Let us alone, Wiglaf answered. Oh, Gorzil groaned. That was a bad joke. Really bad, Eric called from behind the rock. Gorzil hates bad jokes, the dragon added. In fact, Wiglaf thought that the dragon looked slightly ill. Try again, son of the village, Gorzil ordered. Tell Gorzil another joke, but make it a good one. All right, Wiglaf said. Knock, knock. The dragon perked up. Gorzil will get this one. Who's there? Arthur, cried Wiglaf. Arthur. Oh, yes. Oh, pooh. Arthur who? Wiglaf answered. Are there any dragons uglier than you? Ah! Gorzil cried. That's even worse! Wiglaf noticed that Gorzil's bright orange eyes had faded. His scales were no longer a brilliant green. The dragon looked the way Wiglaf felt when he heard too many of Fergus's knock-knocks. Sick. Suddenly, Wiglaf had a hunch. Could it be? His heart began to race with excitement. Knock, knock, Wiglaf said again. Who's there? Gorzil mumbled. Howard, called Wiglaf. Howard who? Gorzil said weakly. Wiglaf yelled, Howard, you like to hear another rotten joke. Another? Ugh! The dragon gasped for air. He clutched at his scaly chest with his claws. Quickly, Wiglaf struck again. Knock, knock! Who's there? Gorzil's head was drooping now. Ivan! Wiglaf shouted. Gorzil's legs buckled under him. He hit the ground. I want to stay alive, Wiglaf cried. That did it. Gorzil's chest heaved. His tail lashed one final time, and he was still. His tongue flopped out the side of his mouth and lay in a puddle of yellow drool. Then, with a thunderous poof, Gorzil's body exploded into a cloud of dragon dust. Eric hiked up his skirt and ran through the dust to Wiglaf's side. By Lancelot's lance, he exclaimed, Gorzil is dead! Then, all at once, Wiglaf heard a wild roar. He turned to see hundreds of cheering villagers popping out from behind rocks and trees, villagers who had come to watch them fight the dragon. Joyfully, the villagers began rushing toward them. Wiglaf brushed the dragon dust from his tunic. He readied himself to be lifted up onto their shoulders, to be carried through Toenail, a hero. Out of me way! A villager shouted gruffly, shoving past him. A stampede of villagers followed on his heels. Wiglaf and Eric had to leap behind a boulder or be trampled as the whole crowd charged straight into the cave, straight for Gorzil's hoard. As the two dragon hunters stood staring, a flash lit the sky. Wiglaf looked up just in time to see Shorekill tumble from the clouds down into a clump of weeds. Nice try, Shorekill, said Wiglaf.